Thank you, and welcome to F8. 3 years ago, at our first F8, we launched Facebook Platform, and together, we all started an industry. At our last F8, we announced Connect, an important shift that social platforms would now focus on the web, not social networks themselves. We think that what we have to show you today will be the most transformative thing we've ever done for the web. There are a few key themes that we're going to be talking about today. The first is the open graph that we're all building together. Today, the web exists mostly as a series of unstructured links between pages, and this has been a powerful model, but it's really just the start. The open graph puts people at the center of the web. It means that the web can become a set of personally and semantically meaningful connections between people and things. I am friends with you. I am attending this event. I like this band. These connections aren't just happening on Facebook. They're happening all over the web. And today, with the open graph, we're going to bring all of these together. Our second theme is going to be using the open graph to make instantly social and personalized experiences everywhere you go, in every website, mobile application, and every product that you use. We've learned from Connect that social experiences are a lot more engaging for people. We've also learned that the less friction there is to get to a social experience and the faster that a user can get there, the more effective they are. So we're going to spend some time discussing this today as well. And the third theme that we're going to talk about is just making all of this completely simple to do. All right. Now, before we get into this, I want to give you a few quick updates on how our core platform is doing. So, if you're thinking about building a site with Facebook, one of the first questions that you probably want to ask is, how many of my users are already on Facebook? So, at our last F8, there were just shy of 100 million people on Facebook. But now I'm pleased to say that there are more than 400 million people on Facebook, and this number is growing at a faster rate than it ever has before. So, if you're building a website, there's a good chance that most of your users are already on Facebook, and for the ones who aren't, they probably will be soon. Now, we're seeing even faster growth with other areas. It took us almost 5 years to get to 100 million people using the website, but it's taken us only 3 years to reach that number of mobile users. And in the last year alone, that number has grown by 5x. Connect has spread even faster. It took us just a little bit longer than 1 year to get to 100 million people using Connect around the web and on mobile devices. Now, developers who are using these technologies are having a lot of success, and that's why a lot of great developers are building with us today. We already have 9 out of the top 10 news sites are using Connect and have deep integrations. 10 top 10 iPhone apps have used Connect. There have been 20 TechCrunch 50 finalists that have used Connect. And more, we're really seeing this trend where a lot of startups are requiring that Facebook, that all of their users connect in order to have their real identity and friends with them throughout the experience. So we're really excited about this trend, and we want to make it simple to build these social and personalized experiences. So to get started today, I want to tell you about a couple of important policy changes that we're making that should make building on top of Facebook Platform even simpler. Now, the first is that we're going to go ahead and we're going to combine all of the permissions dialogues that you use when you're using Connect and Platform into a single permissions dialogue. So now someone comes to your site, you can show them a dialog that has all of the different information and permissions that you need. It explains it to them clearly, and they can click and just proceed to your application. It's a lot simpler for you guys to build, just one step here. It's a lot easier for users to just have to go through one step, and it's a lot clearer for them what information and permissions are being shared. So overall, this should make building on top of Facebook Platform a lot easier. Now, the second change is this. We've had this policy where you can't store and cache any data for more than 24 hours. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of that policy. So now, If a person comes to your site and gives you permission to access their information, you can store it. That means no more having to make the same API calls day after day. No more having to build different code paths just to handle information that Facebook users are sharing with you. We think that this step is going to make building with Facebook Platform a lot simpler. So those are two important policy updates that are going to be going out really quickly. Now, I also want to give you an update on what we're doing with credits. Right now in the ecosystem, a lot of developers are building up their own stores of credit cards from users and stored value. And our goal with credits is to make it so that people can use a single currency in every app that they use. So this will be a lot better for people because they'll only have to have kind of one store of currency. And it'll be a lot better for applications because there will be a lot lower friction for people to pay for things in every single application that you use. So far, we've been focused primarily on just scaling up our systems to handle the millions of dollars of transactions that are already organically flowing through Facebook applications and Connect sites. We have almost 100 different applications in the program with us. We're still in closed beta, but if you want to reach out to us and if you want to get in and work on this, you can just send us a message and look up how we're working together on the credits website, and we'll reach out to you when we're ready to work with your application. So we're building this quickly, and we're focusing on scaling it out to the whole ecosystem. All right. Now let's get back to the big stuff. Let's talk about the Open Graph. At our first F8, I introduced the concept of the social graph, the idea that if you mapped out all of the connections between people and things in the world, it would form this massive interconnected graph that just shows how everyone is connected together. Now, Facebook is actually only mapping out a part of this graph, mostly the part around people and the relationships that they have. You guys are mapping out other really important parts of the graph. For example, I know Yelp is here today. Yelp is mapping out the part of the graph that relates to small businesses. Pandora is mapping out the part of the graph that relates to music. And a lot of news sites are mapping out the part of the graph that relates to current events and news content. If we can take these separate maps of the graph and pull them all together, then we can create a web that is more social, personalized, smarter, and semantically aware. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, one of the core ideas of the social graph is that a person or object is really defined by the other things that they're connected to in the relationships in the world that they have. So in the graph, that's me. And who I am defined by, what I'm defined by, are the people I spend time with, the things that I work on. I am friends with Chris Cox. I live in Palo Alto. I eat a lot of fried chicken. So that's me. This is me in the graph. We can go ahead and pan to a completely different part of the graph where Yelp is. And so here's Yelp, and I can come and I can connect to Yelp. And because Yelp can know who I am and what I'm connected to, then they can just give me a nice social experience. They can show me places that are around me because they know that I live in Palo Alto. They can show me reviews from my friends. And actually, a lot of this is already possible today with what we have, although what we're going to talk about in a minute is going to show you how it's going to become a lot easier pretty soon. Now, what isn't possible today is to take the part of this graph that Yelp has mapped out and to connect that with all the other parts of the graph that are out there. So, if I go and I write a review on Yelp that I like something, that connection exists in Yelp's map of the graph, but it's completely separate from all of the other services that I use in their maps of the graph. There's no open graph that brings all these things together. So, one hack that a lot of services have used to get around this is just to post unstructured updates to a stream, right? You figure you can post this to a stream, some of your friends will see it, that'll be good, you're sharing it, right? I guess. But there's a big problem. The stream is ephemeral. You post something to the stream, and it's there for a few hours, and some people will see it, and then it mostly floats away. And then the services that consume the stream, they don't actually form a connection between you and that restaurant. They don't actually understand the semantic relationship that exists between you and the places that you're connecting to. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make it possible to make those connections. And once you have those connections, and once it's possible to understand these connections across services, a lot of really neat things become possible. So on Facebook, for example, we can start to show you a newsfeed story when 3 of your friends across the web all like the same restaurant, right? You figure that's relevant. A bunch of your friends all like the same thing. We can, if you write a review saying that something's positive, we can put that restaurant in your profile under a section of your favorite restaurants alongside all of the other restaurants that you've ever liked on any website anywhere. If you like a restaurant, we can show you updates from it in Newsfeed. If you start searching for a restaurant in the type ahead, we can show you restaurants that your friends have liked. And of course, all of these links on the site will point back to the original object on Yelp. So it all kind of creates more flow between these different sites. And this is really just the start of what we can do.